Hey everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 359, being recorded on July 22nd, 2015. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
And I'm Alan Malventano.
Josh, how many compliments did you get on your shirt today?
None.
You are behind me by one.
Well, one of my
lady
friends looked at me and said, "You're a loser." So does that count?
That's minus one compliment, actually. Right. You are negative compliments
minus 50
today.
DKP.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
The lady at Jimmy John's, Jersey Mike's, another J sandwich shop, really appreciated my shirt.
All right.
So
was that like Loot Crate or what?
No, I don't know where I got this one. It was a long time ago. I've had this for a while. It's Yoda holding a lightsaber, and he cut off Zorro's leg and the girl from Kill Bill's arm.
That is,
yeah, it's
pretty sweet.
Yeah, I have no idea where I got it. I've had it forever. It's a great shirt. I just brought that up because Josh was bragging about his shirt came in from England.
Yeah, all the way from England.
Yeah, buddy.
I bet my shirt came from like Thailand. If I were to guess.
I wouldn't take that bet.
That might be where Josh's shirt originally came from.
That's true. Yours came from England via...
No, it came from Thailand. It's a Gildan shirt, so made in the USA.
You think Gildan... Oh, so it went from the U.S. to England, back to the U.S.?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
No, but the tag was made in the U.S.
Oh, I get it.
Dirty turncoat shirt.
Yeah. This is a turncoat shirt. It's awesome.
Welcome to the show, everybody. We talk about hardware and stuff here. Thank you for joining us. We do record the show live Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific at pcper.com/live. If you want to participate in that, we highly encourage that you do. We have a lot of pre-show stuff and a lot of post-show banter. I think last week while I was gone, you guys did for a while since it was a short week.
We did a nice
and we may
show.
do some of that stuff here too. But if you need a gentle little reminder about when we're going to record the show, if you go to pcper.com/subscribe, you get this webpage here that simply asks for your name and an email address, and we'll send you a notification right before we go live, usually an hour, sometimes 2 hours beforehand.
Let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Let me get this straight. You're not going to give the email access to me, right?
Still not going to give you the email access.
We agreed to not bring that up again this week.
Don't worry, Josh. I'll give it to you.
But you brought it up.
Okay.
So...
You'll get it.
Later we'll wear them down.
Not talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Josh doesn't have access to it. We don't spam you with anything else.
Yeah.
We only give you cool notifications about this interesting stuff. And actually, as a little bit of a teaser, we haven't set anything up yet. We have confirmation of all this, but we are going to do some Logitech-based game streams where we play Dirt Rally, play some Project Cars. And we're going to use, we have a couple of Logitech G29 racing wheels we're going to give away as prizes in those streams as well. So that'll be fun. So Josh, you'll be able to call in and we'll be able to race and
do things
maybe
that are fun.
Maybe with a wheel I'll do better than I did when I was playing the controller or keyboard. I'm going to make Allyn use that Genius branded wheel that I have in the closet that was sent to me like months and years ago. I'd be curious. I want to see if that one rotates. Is that only rotates like 3/4?
No, yeah, it's
or if it's one of the
3/4.
actual one that rotates all the way around.
No, it's 270 degrees. It's not.
It's 270, not 900.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I mean, that's better for me because then I'll have a better chance of winning races, I guess. So, but if you sign up for this email list, you'll be notified about those events. In which case, you can come watch us make fools of ourselves, play video games, and also win free stuff, which is always interesting. So let's go ahead and jump into things this week. It was another slow week. I have been out a lot. Obviously, I know a lot of people. Probably everybody knows. I had a daughter born on June 27th. She came home last Thursday. She was born very early, so she spent some time in the hospital at the NICU. So she came home on Thursday night. So today marks 1 full week of having a baby, and I'm very tired. I had to take a nap this afternoon before I came in.
He has bags under his eyes.
Otherwise, I knew I wasn't going to be able to make it through the podcast. I almost didn't make it to drive my wife to her doctor's appointment this morning at like 8 o'clock. So everything's going great there. Some people in the chat room were asking for an update. Everything's going fine. She's doing the normal thing, apparently, of only sleeping for 2 hours at a time.
She's tiny and tall.
She's tiny and tall and just kind of annoying right now.
Come on.
She's kind of annoying right now.
Annoying when I was over there.
14.
Well, see,
level
I'm looking for this lull in the middle where it's not like that, right? Where she's like, like 3, 4, sleeping through the night, able to use the bathroom, no diapers, but before they become whiny teenagers.
You know that 3 and 4 comes after terrible 2s, right?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I got to get to that spot in the middle. That's
6 to 10 is like pretty good for girls.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm
and then it starts going back downhill again.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's really what I'm looking forward to. So
that's when Al's chloroform spray is going to come in handy.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, and also I'll be in jail. Also, I will point out we're not at. This is usually the podcast we record at QuakeCon.
It is.
We're not.
What? We're not recording this live from QuakeCon?
Oh, we moved the set. We're live from QuakeCon. Come to the what room are we in this year, Allyn?
The DeSoto room.
DeSoto.
Yeah,
Come to the DeSoto room. Knock on the door. You have to know the secret knock. I'm not going to tell it to you here. You have to know it just right, and then the door will open, and a flood of prizes will overcome you.
Yeah. We're not going to do a hardware workshop. We'll just give them away right at the DeSoto room.
Yeah.
So that's where that closet got cleaned out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will be. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this now. There is a
proxy.
There is a proxy for the PC Perspective.
There is a
team
stand-in,
there.
if you will.
Yeah, for me.
Yes.
If you're at QuakeCon and you're listening to this and you happen to see me, maybe you see me with a QR code on my crotch. I don't really understand that all the way. If you happen to see me at QuakeCon, you should go.
It was the non-bumpiest area to actually mount it.
Yes.
You should come meet me, say hello, take a picture with me. And then I guess since the QR code is jacked, I'll just tell everybody what the URL is.
Sure.
I mean,
it's jacked?
Yeah.
Encoding types, apparently. ASCII.
Yeah, so we're going to do...
I thought we tested it.
We're the idea was for you to take a picture of my crotch for the QR code so you get a URL to go to an
You can still figure it out.
You can still figure it out if you look at the code. I mean, just take the % crap out of it and it'll work. So if you... But I'm going to say... I'll save that for people at QuakeCon to figure out.
They're smart people. They can figure it out.
I mean, some of them are
It's
smart
a puzzle.
people.
It was intentional the whole time.
Yes, exactly.
Another level deep.
Exactly. Let's not talk about deep. So we're not at QuakeCon. It's very sad. We'll be there next year. No workshop this year because of the baby stuff. Find me. Take a picture with me. I'll be there in proxy. And if you don't find me, find Maury. He'll be carrying me under his arm as he walks through.
This is getting so much weirder.
With the team on my back.
It's very odd.
He'll be stumbling around drunk with Ryan under his arm.
This could be really weird.
So just normal then.
Please don't destroy me. I would like to get me back.
Did you get the waterproof one or the not?
I did. I got the higher end one, which actually made me feel worse because I was spending more money on it. Still with a very low confidence level of getting
also
it back.
be
You know what?
alcohol-proof.
Nothing is going to be drawn around your mouth at all.
No,
Well,
nothing.
it can't be. And actually, that's why we took some of it. Like we changed part of the design so that wouldn't be the case. But
Yeah.
We were going to get the dry erase model, but we didn't.
yeah, we were going to get the speech bubble with the dry erase portion, and I thought, no,
That's probably a
that's
terrible
probably
idea.
a bad
Opens yourself
idea.
up for
That's
way too
probably
much.
a bad idea. So let's talk about some content here. We posted a review that Ken wrote up of the Acer Aspire V15 Nitro Black Edition, which sounds like a video card or a motherboard from Gigabyte or something. It's actually a gaming laptop that is not like stupid expensive, which is unique. What is this like sub $1,000, Ken? Where are we at on this?
Yeah, I think you can get it for like $800 right now.
The configuration that we reviewed.
It's kind of an older model at this point, but
Yeah.
like it's Haswell based instead of Broadwell. But I think it goes for about $800.
There are still a lot of gaming notebooks that are using Haswell rather than Broadwell because there's no performance difference. You don't care about the power consumption differences, and it's cheaper for them to integrate than Broadwell would be. So it's a 1080p IPS screen, and let's see, it's got a Core i7-4720 processor in it. It's 15-inch screen, 15.5, 8 gigs of RAM. It's got a GTX 960M. It's one key drawback in my mind is the inclusion of a 1 terabyte hard drive instead of an SSD. Did this one have space for an SSD if you wanted to add it in addition to the hard drive?
It has an MSATA or M.2 slot.
It does have an M.2 slot?
M.2 SATA.
M.2 SATA slot. So you could add that and still keep the hard drive for longer term storage, which is what you should do. But obviously they wanted to send us one that was kind of price aggressive, so they kept the SSD out of it. 5.29 pounds, so it's not super heavy. It's not thin and light, but it is fairly thin for a gaming machine for sure. I mean, what did you think of the build quality of the device as a whole? can.
It's actually built surprisingly well. I mean, it's all made of plastic, but it's felt like very sturdy plastic. It wasn't going to bend. It wasn't going to flex. That little metal detail on the back, the Aspire branding on it is nice. It's a little metal hinge across the entire back. It gives it a little pop, makes it a little nicer.
Yeah.
Sharp.
Yeah, sure.
Connectivity-wise, I see there's a set of 3 USB 3.0 ports, HDMI, a full-size Ethernet jack. You don't have to worry about any adapters or anything for that. What about
oddly enough, ports are only on the right-hand side.
That's kind of weird.
I would have liked to see a couple more USB ports on the left-hand side.
I wonder if they had spacing issues. Like, in order to get all the heatsink in there, they kind of had to like move it around some.
Yeah, it just...
I probably would have rather... Well, no, I guess if you have to do ventilation, you'd rather that be on the left-hand side. Most people are right-handed, so you don't want that ventilating out onto your mouse, right?
Pass the heat to the left-hand side. Sing it with me.
Not one of the good old days when it just dumped it directly in your crotch.
Well, not all of us are using laptops on the crotch.
That's why we're all sterile.
Yeah. What about keyboard, trackpad, that kind of stuff? Fairly reasonable?
It was passable. It's a chiclet keyboard. It worked pretty well. The trackpad was actually nice. It had a nice click to it. It's trackpad with an integrated button. The entire unit clicks down. It's kind of what you find at any laptop these days.
Yeah.
It was all perfectly usable.
Right.
Does it seem like the kind that might be polished over time and become...
No, not really.
Okay, like good quality?
Yeah, I was actually impressed with the trackpad.
Performance-wise, this was pretty good. 4720 is a quad-core hyper-threaded part, I think with a base clock of 2.6 gigahertz. I mean, clearly, this graph here is Handbrake, kind of one of our seminal CPU tests. Comparing it to the 4870 HQ, which is still a Haswell part. What's the difference? That's got the Iris Pro graphics in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because of the GS30. So not a big difference.
It's 100 megahertz as well.
Okay, so a little bit of CPU difference there, but not a whole bunch. But if you compare it to like the XPS 13 that I'm using that uses Broadwell, which are dual-core hyper-threaded, you can see a dramatic drop in kind of like theoretical peak performance there. Single thread, this is kind of more important on what you get differences in terms of actual performance results there. And yeah. All right. So let's see. What about graphics performance here? It does have a GTX 960M, which is good. I mean, it's better than... So, I mean, this is actually an interesting graph, right? So this is 3D Mark, so take that for what you will. It's more, again, theoretical peaks. But the Aspire V Nitro that has a 960M is still a little bit less than double the performance. Well, I would say, what is that? 70% more or something than the MSI GS30, which uses the Haswell Iris Pro processor. So that's kind of the highest end integrated graphics you can get. So still a dramatic performance difference on what you get for gaming there.
And I did things, I don't have exact benchmarks, but I installed GTA 5 on it. I maxed it out at 1080p, which is the resolution of the panel. I hooked it up to my TV, played it. It was all great.
Okay. I mean, that's good. I mean, it's not going to...
Just about any 1080p game you want to throw at it, it could play, which is useful because it has a 1080p panel. And
yeah. Battery life, not great, though?
No, it's still a gaming notebook.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
I still, like, the fact that nobody can crack that nut still bothers me a little. I don't know. Remember when, what was Optimus was going to save us all?
There were, at one point.
It didn't.
Through 4 movies, he certainly did.
True. So for under $900, the Aspire V15 Nitro Black Edition is a great option for someone looking for a notebook capable of playing games that doesn't break the bank. And it's also, I think it's important to note that it's not a like 17-inch behemoth at the same time. It's not quite maybe as sexy looking as the Razer laptops, the gaming laptops that they have.
It's kind of a big bezel on that, you know what I'm saying?
But those are also really expensive, the Razer ones.
And hot, and will scald you because they're all made out of aluminum.
Yeah, that's true too.
But boy, they're dissipating that heat.
Onto your skin.
Exactly.
In some cases, yeah.
For performance.
It's all in work up that up. So check out that review if you're interested in that. Again, it's a modestly priced gaming notebook that has modest performance. You know, people in the chat are already saying it's like, oh, I could build such a different, a higher performing desktop system for that. Clearly, you can do that. That's always the case with any gaming notebook you buy, regardless if it's a $3,000 gaming notebook or an $800 gaming notebook. You can always do better if you go to the desktop side of stuff. But we're not, so whatever, I guess. Another story went up. Maury, not here, currently acquiring me from his house. What?
That just sounds weird.
Well,
I'm not all right with it.
All of this conversation is sounding
technically
weird,
his
which is
wife
important.
got you earlier.
His wife picked me up.
Yes. And now he
is getting me from his wife.
Yes.
Okay.
You really get around, don't you?
I do. Yep. I do. And I can be in 2 places at once, and that's kind of magical. I'm okay with that.
That's why we need it back, so that one of you can take care of Emma.
Basically, if I ever have to miss the podcast, I'm just going to put the cardboard cutout here, and you guys have to acknowledge its existence.
We'll just, like, behind you, I'll just go, all right, sure.
Right. Yeah. That's what I want. So real quick, Maury posted a story looking at the Bitspower AI X99 R5E nickel-plated full cover block. Right, so the X99 R5E is the Rampage 5 Extreme. These are water blocks for your chipset that are per motherboard specific, I guess. Right, because the layouts of all these boards differ. The screw mounting points are going to differ. The PCI Express layout is going to differ. You can see here in this diagram of the motherboard itself and the block, because there's also a block for kind of the MOSFETs up top. And let's see, get past all this.
You know, plasma cutters are pretty cheap anymore. So you can just pop those things out, anodize them, call them good.
Yeah,
you got the same kind of water blocks that attach to each one. Not a big deal.
Now, I will ruin the surprise here and say that the performance deltas, even with overclocking,
so literally zero,
are pretty minimal when adding a water block chipset cooler to a system these days. But in reality, it's more about looks and style, and
the only time you get notice, because I have seen cases, like even in my own system, where I wanted very little airflow or just have to have very few fans that happen to be blowing air across the motherboard because everything had a water block on it. That's when that comes into play, right? That's where it's almost a necessity at that point, because if you don't have airflow across the motherboard.
Most boards now are designed with such high tolerances on VRM, and a lot of chipsets, almost all chipset coolers are passively cooled now anyway. I'm sure it helps, but I just don't think it's that dramatic. Like this is only cooling the VRM part right here. Like just
like as long as you have any airflow across that, heatsink at all, you're pretty much fine.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But if you have no airflow across those heat sinks at all, like they will eventually just start cooking.
Yeah. I mean, they eventually come to some kind of equilibrium. Like the chipset's only going to generate so much power.
We run plenty of motherboards on open test benches with no.
I have my GPU test bed. I take the chipset fan and unplug it.
Yeah, you unplug it. Yeah,
and it's fine.
And there's no airflow across that thing.
Not usually.
But he does whisper sweet nothings across the heatsink.
Stay cool, baby.
Just do it.
Stay cool.
You know you want it.
Be cool. Wait, no.
I find all kinds of like corporate slogans and things to repeat back to it. So I just want to. Here is the before picture of his motherboard, and yes, somebody in the chat room, King Kookaluk, points out that this is for his QuakeCon build, which it absolutely was. As far as I know, broke node processors this year. Yet, I mean, maybe he hasn't got it up and running yet.
Yeah, he's going to try to do all that.
He didn't notice that until
he didn't delit his soldered 5960X.
Right. So here is the before of that motherboard, and here it is with the parts removed. You can see the VRMs now and the chipset down there, and then wrong button. And I don't know how to go back on this. I don't have a mouse. I don't know if the gesture controls actually work. So now we'll skip down here. There's the installation of the back plate of it, or the removal rather. And there you go.
It has an outline like a death outline. Like, here used to lie.
How's he going to get to the battery?
Oh, no.
Did he cover up the battery?
He did cover up the battery.
He is
so pissed.
He is his own worst enemy.
So you can see here's the water block on the VRMs. Here's the block on the chipset itself. I like the design, and I like the way that it like kind of goes between the PCI Express slots appropriately.
Just sneaks up in there.
Yeah. That's. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's neat. It's just not going to change the performance outlook of this system in any discernible way.
Well, it might do the VRMs, certainly, a little bit.
But but what does cooling them actually get you, I guess, in the long run? Yes, everything will run cooler.
More overclocking,
it might give you a little more.
Here is the behemoth in totality. Look at that. He's got two. So here's that. We've got that.
Are you sure that's not like from Aliens?
Here's his two GTX 970s that we talked about in previous podcasts. Oh, yeah.
I've seen manga. I know where this is going.
I have seen Akira. I understand what is about to occur.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Where does he install the skirt?
Boom. So GPU performance doesn't change. Manual overclocking. Let's look at chipset and VRM performance. VRM load drops from 35 to 26. That's delta, right? So it drops about 10 degrees Celsius. The VRM.
I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at.
No, I mean that's good, but like, did it increase his overclocking capability?
I don't know.
The answer is in the conclusion page, and it's kind of like, nah.
Does it not really do anything?
Yeah.
I mean, that does vary from motherboard to motherboard as well, like what is sensitive to what.
So the VRM did come down 10C. The chipset block had minimal effect on temperature because of the minimal amount of heat that the chipset generates under normal circumstances anyway. So yeah. It's a neat looking thing that I'm glad still exists, that I'm glad that those enthusiasts that want it still buy it and use it and show that stuff off. But I don't feel the need. I don't think I need to recommend many people do this, right? Josh, you water cooling your VRMs?
No.
Why not?
I was.
Because I don't overclock.
Psh. Why not? Though.
You don't overclock at all?
We leave the overclocking to Sebastian.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's the pro.
All right. Before we get into a couple of other stories here, guys, we are going to mention we do have a podcast sponsor this week. Somebody's willing to pay us to talk about their product.
How long has it been since we had
like 3 weeks. Was he not here that day? We had this exact sponsor.
I don't think I was here that day.
I don't think.
Or Casper?
Didn't I miss one? I missed one recently. So.
Yeah, it was Casper. It's Casper now. This episode of the PC Perspective podcast is brought to you by Casper. We're excited to welcome them. If you don't know who Casper is, they make and sell mattresses, and I think no better audience or spokespeople like Josh, to really market and sell.
And you don't have to carry it around either. It comes in a box, right?
It is an online retailer of premium mattresses. It's revolutioning the mattress industry by cutting the cost of dealing with resellers and showrooms and passing that savings on to the consumer. They call it an obsessively engineered mattress at a fair price. Obsessively engineered sounds like a good thing. There's two technologies using latex and memory foam, and they come together to form for better nights and brighter days. I think this might be something I need to invest in. If I'm only going to get sleep in 2-hour intervals, it should be the best sleep possible in those 2-hour intervals. It is a comfortable mattress with just the right sink and bounce. Josh, that's your cue. It provides long-lasting comfort and support.
So unlike Josh.
Yeah.
You can buy it online. It's completely risk-free. This is the stuff that I think really makes this service stand out, right? So you can try sleeping on a Casper mattress. They understand the importance of truly trying out a mattress over a long period of time rather than going into a mattress store.
So how long?
100 nights.
All right. That's
100 days for you to actually sleep on and use this mattress before deciding if you want to keep it or send it back.
More than 3 months. That's plenty of time.
As opposed to going into a mattress store and sitting down and laying down for like 30 seconds while a guy in a suit looks at you.
Oh, the mattress that I have in my bedroom, like I did that very thing.
Yes.
So, and it's even a memory foam mattress.
So you were definitely here for our last time we did this ad because you told this story
before. I did?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, it was a memory foam mattress. Like,
and then you did
laid on it, seemed okay, got it home. Like my back started aching because it was too
And not only that, but he caught crabs from all the other people laying on it.
Well, you know.
Well, the last time I bought a mattress, I bought it at Sam's Club, and they're like up on a shelf, wrapped in plastic. So I didn't even I didn't even like do the I'm going to lay on it for 30-second thing. I was just like, just put it in the truck. It's fine. Let's go. So
do they have a lightweight version you can carry around and protest?
Of my mattress? No.
Yeah.
Can you burn a Casper mattress?
So Casper offers, they have free delivery, painless returns with a 100-day period, so you don't have to lie down on it in a showroom. And if you don't know, or you do, statistically lying on a bed in a showroom has no correlation to whether or not it's the right bed for you. And Allyn is a proof of that. Yeah. All Casper mattresses are made in the US of A. Sorry, Jeremy. Wink.
Hey, I checked it, and as a Canadian, I can ship my bed too.
That's good. That's good. Everybody needs to be able to ship their bed. So I think that works out. So you can get a Casper mattress for $500 for a twin or $950 for a king size. If you compare that to industry averages, that is an outstanding price point. Yeah. Mattresses are not cheap when you go out to the stores, for sure. And you can save an additional $50 as one of our audience members by going to casper.com/PCPer and entering the promo code PCPer. Awesome. Casper.com/PCPer, promo code PCPer. You get $50 off. You get that 100-day trial period. And every time I see this ad, I feel like I need to do this.
Hey, you know what? You know what the only problem
doesn't make any sense
is?
to not.
Do you know?
No.
They're reticle limited. They only can get so big.
To the size of the mattress they can manufacture.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
With their
you know how many photolithography are in there?
I thought they were using interposer technology so they could just like
the latex and the memory foam. Just
yes. I really am curious. I'm gonna have to do this because I just want to see what a mattress shipped to your door looks like.
Yeah.
Like
it's in a vacuum sealed.
It's in a
bag.
vacuum sealed thing, and it kind of decompresses. And yeah, I don't know. We'll do this. Casper.com/PCPer, promo code PCPer. We thank them for their support of PC Perspective. Now, on to the news of the week. Again, not a whole bunch, but we'll walk through what we do have here, guys. AMD confirms August availability for the Radeon R9 Nano. Sebastian wrote this up for us. On their Q2 earnings call, AMD CEO Lisa Su made this telling remark: Fury just launched actually this week and will be launching Nano in the August timeframe, which probably tells us that Nano will launch in the August timeframe.
Who would have thought? Because they didn't really ever say that, except maybe about 17 times in June.
Well, they said Q2. They only ever specified.
I think they said late summer.
Oh, did they say late
yeah.
summer? Okay. Well, that's late summer could be
August
September
or September.
About the time Windows 10 comes out, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's about the same conference where she let that slip.
The R9 Nano is the Fiji-based part with 175 watt TDP that is air cooled on a super small form factor. And this is still a full Fiji chip, right? Or was this
full?
It's supposed to be full.
No, it's full.
Yeah.
I still don't understand how it's going to work.
It's lower TDP and should be pretty quick.
It's 100 watt lower TDP.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount. So how much slower do you? Okay, let me ask you this, Josh.
I think it's going to be about R9 300 speed.
Okay, so you think there's a significant decrease in performance?
I wouldn't call that significant, but
to the 390. I mean, to the 290. To the
390. The regular R9 390,
which is the R9 290, right?
Well, yeah, but the one that for $329.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what the regular Fury R9 Fury, which is it's 500. You know, maybe it's going to be faster than 390X, but maybe not by much. I don't think.
I just so there's two possibilities, right? One is they have cherry picked the hell out of these GPUs, right? And they found the ones that will operate at a very high frequency, at very low voltage, at very low power consumption, and that's what they're going to release at this air-cooled variant.
So you think
they have all the other ones that they said, well, we're going to put a water cooler on it anyway, so blah 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 blah, kind of spread those out.
So it's kind of like reverse binning?
I don't think so.
That's not reverse binning. That's just binning.
That's just binning. I mean, you don't think so, Josh? You think they're just going to?
Because I mean, with the 175 watt TDP as compared to something that's running 275 watts.
Yeah,
that's huge. That is a huge amount. I mean, you're really not going down all that far, I think, in overall clock speed, just because of the way it's almost logarithmic. When you go up in clock speed, creates more heat, consumes more power, and it scales up. And so I don't think they're going to have a huge amount of actual clock speed difference, unless, of course, they do disable some parts. But it's going to be an interesting exercise in TDP, and scaling.
Because
is what we see it's going to be at.
so, if we look at AMD's current product stack, we have the Fury X, we have the Fury, and then we have the 390X.
Mm-hmm.
And in theory, the R9 Nano, it's not called a Fury part, but it is using VG, should fall, I would hope, between the 390X and the Fury.
Yes.
Otherwise, you get into this whole thing of you're really paying more just to have the power consumption, heat, and size differences. And AMD's kind of whole mantra for several years has been performance per dollar, like trying to keep all these things. Now, I mean, but maybe the Fury X is kind of like their indicator out into the market that, hey, that we're going to pay attention to flagship parts and being a what do you call that? I always forget that term where you want to attain a part,
What?
like where you strive to attain that part, like it's like not a Halo product, but
Golden sample? I don't know.
no, it doesn't matter. But like something that people strive to want, not just because of its performance, but because of the cool stuff that it does or looks like, or
to have
has.
something that's the next one up.
Yeah,
for
well,
them to
I mean,
go
so
after.
I just think they could be in a very interesting or difficult position if its performance is like in the 390, between 390 and 390X.
Well, then it's kind of competing with their own part,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like if
It's competing against its own part, but like
what's the TDP on the
Smaller.
390X?
250.
Yes, it'd be-
It's what, 390X?
Yeah, 390X
No.
is like 250.
No, it's 275.
275.
to
290. Well, it used to be 290, now it's 275. Yeah.
Okay.
With the new one.
So, I mean, yeah, it'd look even worse if it did compete on performance, like if it was equivalent, because then it would be doing it at like 100 watts less.
Aspirational.
Yeah, but it's
Aspirational
half the
product
memory.
thinking.
There you go.
Can't
That's
ever
the-
go above that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So August. Apparently we'll know more in August, which is only, I see it. It's like 10 days away.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see. Jeremy, you posted this news post actually that was a review from, who was a review from? Hard OCP.
H.
This is a tiny ass X99 board. We don't have to talk about this a lot. It's somebody else's review, but it's the ASRock X99E ITX AC. Look at that.
It is indeed.
Look at that
And
motherboard.
just
It's so cute.
look at the picture to see what they stuck on there, because that's a CPU socket in the middle, and we all know how big those are. It's tiny. I mean, sure, it's only got the single 16X PCI 3.0 on it, but it's got 2 Ethernet ports. Yeah, you're never going to get quad channel memory because, well, you only got 2 DIMM slots, but this thing is just ridiculously tiny, and if you're building something high-powered and small, it's going to be brilliant. If you want to have a nice add-in card and build yourself a nice little box for network security to be a router, to be a home server, this is your baby. And as you can see, it's even got an Ultra M.2 slot up there. So you can boot off of that. And somehow, they've put 6 SATA 6 gigabit ports, eSATA, and a SEX port.
I'm sorry. A SATA Express. SATA Express.
SATA
port.
Express.
Sex port.
He calls them sex
Yeah.
ports.
Okay, I get it now.
Never going to stop. So,
So it's like
just
Czech women going across the ocean.
yes. To Thailand.
Yeah, this board probably is smaller than Maury's VRM cooler or chipset cooler.
Yes, I would think so.
And it's weird because it has the same chipset on it.
You could build like the most ridiculous little storage box off of this.
You're not going to use this for a storage box.
You could.
Sure, you could.
Why would,
Yeah, but why would you need that much?
Why would you pick a 6-core CPU for your storage server?
If it was doing a bunch of other crap.
ZFS.
Well,
But you can't. It only has 2 DIMM slots, so ZFS, you're screwed.
well,
You get high density ECC DIMMs.
Yeah, that'd
In there.
probably work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see the maximum on it, but I'm assuming it's at least 32.
Oh man, you guys are driving me nuts. Moving on, Windows 10 supported until 2020, extended until 2025.
yeah, extended support until 2025.
So
They're extending the last Windows to 2025.
Windows.
Well, yeah, that's.
I guess they
another-
did say that, didn't
They
they?
did kind of say that, so it's still a little confusing to me, since this was
Maybe
supposed to be
they
like.
mean the build that ships on July 29th.
I guess. But then it'd be like, oh, you mean Windows 10.1.3.9? Oh wait, we're going to support that
Windows
until
El
2030.
Capitan.
Yeah, Windows El Capitan. That's what it'll be.
So I mean, does this matter? I mean,
Well, just the fact that they're saying how long they're going to support the thing that's about to come out.
Don't they always do that?
Well, they usually announce it like later, like or something. They might announce it up front.
so
but
2020 is only. It seems like forever from now, but it's only 5
But
years.
it's 5 years.
that's 5 years.
Yeah, that's really not that far. I guess.
Yeah,
Well,
but how long is
Nope.
8.1 now? 2, 3?
Yeah, but they're trying desperately to get rid of 8, right?
Yeah.
And
They're trying to get rid of Server 2003. It ain't working out.
The hope is that they're not going to try to get rid of 10 as quickly.
I mean, if they do decide to stick with that thing that they said, which was the whole, this will be the last Windows in theory, and we'll just keep updating it or whatnot. If they decide to stick to that, they can always just change this later. Just be like, oh, well, we're just going to support it outright till 2025 or
Well, like they did with XP.
and after that, we're
and-
releasing Microsoft Moonroof.
something. Yeah.
All
God
right.
only knows with these people.
I told you it was kind of a slow news week, and Windows support timeframes are not usually our
true.
our primary thing here. Also, maybe something that we wouldn't normally talk about: Windows 7 installed on an ASUS ZenFone 2.
There you go.
Thank you. For only $199, you can install Windows 7. Well, plus the cost of the Windows 7 license, technically.
In a VM, though. Right?
So remember, the Asus ZenFone 2 is based on an Intel Atom processor, an x86 part, and so they were just able to install like Windows 7 to it, which
on a VM.
through a VM.
I think there was a VM
But-
involved. But the VM probably ran a heck of a lot faster. Like,
It technically runs in an emulator, but as stated before, it does not need to translate the underlying instruction set.
yeah.
It's their virtualization.
Even though it's a Q project, Scott wonders if it's possible to boot some version of Windows on an Intel mobile platform.
It is virtualization,
Natively.
but you're not like it
Yeah.
works totally different when you're on the actual native platform. Like
Yeah.
it's much faster.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like installing a x86 Linux VM on top of your Windows machine.
Sure. Yeah. As long as I would imagine that VM, like whatever that virtualization layer was probably efficient enough to quickly do that.
Right.
Those translations were just the kind of crossing over to straight to the CPU when it was time for the CPU to work on like the virtualized instructions. Right. So, yeah, I mean, cool idea.
Josh, what do you think about TSMC planning 10 and 7 nanometer and a very steep ramping of 16 nanometer?
I think
Production
I'm missing
technology.
Sharknado 3.
Hashtag Sharknado 3.
Mark Cuban will be so disappointed.
Yeah.
Is he in that?
Yes, I think he plays the president.
Nice.
the shark?
So
Man.
that's
They
what
needed
we
somebody
need.
to pay for the thing, so they said, fine, you can
Tell
be
her.
in it.
Everybody wants to be in that damn thing now. It's like sci-fi's greatest hit since
It's a little depressing.
Stargate.
to be
Galaxy
honest.
Quest?
Don't watch Birdemic. Don't do it.
what?
Birdemic.
No, it's Lavalantula.
Bird.
Is that a bird epidemic?
Yeah.
What was the one that they were
bad.
doing Wolfenstein, but they didn't call it Wolfenstein, but it was the giant robotic Nazis that were mutated. It's been a couple of years ago. Kornemic.
I don't know.
Nobody
remember
pay
the name of it.
attention.
We weren't.
Hey, they're keeping up the B movies, and they're
Somebody's got to.
excelling at them.
Somebody's got to.
So anyway, TSMC.
Yes.
Yeah, they really do need a steep ramp of 16 nanometer because they haven't really steeply ramped anything since 28 nanometer, which is 4 years ago. So yeah, it's I guess it's the first generation of 16 nanometer FinFET. It's working apparently, and then they're going for 16 nanometer FinFET Plus, which I guess is a little size optimized, but not terribly much so. We don't know a whole lot about their FinFET technology. Certainly Samsung and GlobalFoundries with their 14 nanometer, they're shipping products. They've had some success. Who's got a Galaxy S6 here? Anyone?
Nope.
Anyone?
Nope.
Anyone? So anyway, they're shipping large quantities of these chips out on that process node. And TSMC is just starting to really ramp up. I think Apple may be one of their first major clients doing that. They certainly were one of their only major, really big clients doing 20 nanometer planar with, the A8? Ken?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been kind of behind the times, but so is everybody else as compared to Intel. Certainly, Intel got to 22 nanometer Tri-Gate first. They stayed there a long time. Nobody else. I mean, people tried 20 nanometer planar, and it just didn't work out because physics is a horrible, horrible thing to bounce your head against. Just ask Scotty. And Intel then went to 14 nanometer Tri-Gate, and certainly they have not had a huge amount of success yet. But now they're finally getting to the point where, we've got plenty of Broadwell. We've got this Broadwell socketed, and then very shortly we'll have the introduction of the Skylake processors, all based on 14 nanometer. But everybody else has been catching up. And if you look at the physics and electrical characteristics of Intel's 14 nanometer FinFET, they're a little bit better, more dense than Samsung's 14 nanometer FinFET. But looking at everything I've seen about geometry, performance, Samsung and GlobalFoundries has a better 14 nanometer product than, say, TSMC's 16 nanometer. Now, you don't even really need to pay attention to the numbers anymore because they don't really mean what you think they mean. I mean, it's like
that was the case
Bride.
at 22, really.
Yeah, it's like an effective.
And
rating.
it's more of a product name rather than anything resembling reality.
So that they're bragging about how small they are.
It's how effectively small they are.
Yeah, because if you compare Intel's 14 nanometer to Samsung's, I mean, when you're looking at geometries, gate distance, all that stuff, they're about 10% bigger than Intel, and bigger is not better when it comes to process technology. And plus, it's the second generation FinFETs for Intel, and this is everybody else's first generation. So there's going to be, I mean, we're better off now with, like, I'm going to bet AMD has their next generation stuff in 2016 will be Samsung GlobalFoundries 14 nanometer. Could be wrong, but they are certainly ahead. AMD already has a very tight relationship with GlobalFoundries, and it may not be as good as what Intel is putting out, but it's a whole damn shame better than the current 28 nanometer versus 14 nanometer that we have. So, have we talked about process enough? But
what process node is this
I believe
thing
this
on?
Pentium Pro was built on 350 nanometer.
500.
Oh,
500.
500.
yep, half a micron. Wait, yes.
This part has was it 5 million
I don't remember.
transistors?
Actually, it may actually be bigger because wasn't the original Pentium after that?
I'm trying to think. This one we looked up. I think this one with the higher cache had 5 million transistors. I believe that's what it was because we were reading. I was trying to remember what the Pentium Pro architecture actually was. Trying to figure out what was this two dies, and it was one CPU, one cache on it. And the next part that came after this.
Yeah, it's 5.5 million.
5.5 million.
You should pull up that picture of
The next thing after this is the Intel Pentium 2 Xeon.
Mm-hmm.
This is the precursor to Xeon in that regard. So,
yeah.
Really
but anyway,
expensive.
they also talked about 10 nanometer and 7 nanometer. I think their 10 nanometer process, they're aiming for ramping in 2017. So we're going to be at 16/14 for a while. And then they, kind of hinted a little after that, oh, hey, we've got 7 nanometer. We'll probably have some test stuff out by 2017 as well. And IBM, interestingly enough, who had a lot of their stuff acquired by GlobalFoundries in the past 2 weeks, they already showed off 7 nanometer wafers. So TSMC is in an interesting spot because suddenly they were the leading pure play foundry in the world, and now they're looking like they're a little bit behind Samsung, GlobalFoundries, and who is the third? Elpida?
I don't
Siemens? I can't remember, but I thought there was a third company behind the common architecture group, I think it's called. My dementia is kicking in. I can't remember anything anymore. So there you have it.
Here are some pictures, just again on this tangent, of the Pentium Pro Wikipedia entry. You can see here a picture of very similar to what I was holding up before, a little bit different.
You can't see it.
Oh. Well, here, let's just click this picture. This is the So here's the underside with that part removed. You can see the processor die here, and then the very simplistic cache on this side.
How did they get that open?
This is a Pentium 2 overdrive with the heatsink removed. Flip
They
chip.
got Maury to do it.
Yeah, they got Maury to take this off. And this is apparently a Pentium Pro with 1 meg of L2 cache. What?
That must have been stupid expensive.
Oh yeah. Probably super cheap. Super cheap.
It's cheap now.
Allyn,
Yes.
pay attention.
Uh-huh.
You there?
Mm-hmm.
Samsung released SSDs this week.
They did.
A 4 terabyte SSD to be exact.
They did. A TLC enterprise version, TLC VNAND. So basically an 850 EVO, but the enterprise version of such.
Okay.
And when we reviewed the 2 terabyte 850 EVOs that just came out recently, right? It was just a couple weeks ago. Actually, it might have just been like a week ago, right? Yeah, it was like a week and a half.
Yep.
We were surprised they were going up to 2 terabytes, right? On the EVO and the Pro. It was like, wow, hey, 2 terabytes in 7mm. That's pretty good. But then when we opened them up, we saw that the PCB doesn't really even take all the space. And there's only like, 8 chips.
Right.
So, or 8 packages, I should say. So we don't know what the inside of these new models look like yet. But I would imagine that they just, put another set of packages on the backside of the PCB, since there were none on the backside.
So the SM863 is MLC. The PM863 series is the
TLC. 3-bit
Okay,
MLC is TLC.
Yeah, change that on the.
No, that's
thing.
exactly how it's said.
3-bit MLC VNAND.
Yes, that is another way of saying TLC.
Okay. 3-bit
You might want
MLC
to get
is
used to it because
TLC.
there might be a 4-bit MLC at some point. So
Well, then what do they call that?
also
4-bit
4-bit MLC.
QLC,
No.
quad level
Well, some people might, but
C. But I mean,
Anyway.
did not Samsung call this TLC?
it's called both. In their press thing, it's 3-bit MLC.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
But the key point here is you can get a 3.84 terabyte SSD for only 57 cents per gig.
$2,200.
It's expensive, yes, but
But it's
I'm looking
4
at the
terabytes.
57 cents per gig.
Yeah, yeah.
That's still high.
It's 57 cents a gig
But-
for a 4 terabyte drive that's only 7mm thick. That's enterprise rated. In other words, it can do 4K random like all day long, which you cannot say for consumer grade drives. They're
Is
just
that still an over provisioning thing?
it's partially over provisioning, so this might actually have like, internally it might be more like something closer to 5 terabytes worth of actual flash,
Okay.
like inside the drive, which is even better, right? But yeah, it's an over provisioning thing.
Could we modify that firmware to
Give you all
give me
of
more
the-
capacity? Maybe not all, but more.
I mean, if they just made a 4 terabyte 850 EVO at some point,
Commercial, like a retail.
then that's what that would be pretty much.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
you still have some over provisioning. You still want to have like 7% or so, which is built into the 850 EVOs already.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, pretty impressive that they're cramming all that into those, right? And then more impressive is when you look at the actual endurance ratings of these, since Enterprise, focuses more heavily on the endurance rating because those are in a setting where they might actually see that many writes, where you might actually
Right.
exhaust the amount of writes, right? As opposed to consumer where it's going to take you quite a while. Just doing typical, running Office is not going to exhaust the amount of flash on your SSD,
Okay.
right? But for these, the Pro version, so that's the SM863, which is just MLC, 2-bit, right? 12,000 terabytes written, which is over 12 petabytes written.
Seems
to a drive.
reasonable. No, I mean that
That's
seems reasonable.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then even the triple level cell version, the 4 terabyte model is 5,600 terabytes written. So that's like over 5 petabytes written to an SSD as a rating. That's pretty crazy. That's like that's almost completely writing the whole thing. Like you'd have to write like 3.5 terabytes every day.
In
to
that 5-year warranty.
To that almost 4 terabyte. Yeah, for the whole, well, that's a 3-year
3-year
warranty
on
that one.
the PM.
So you'd have to almost fill the drive completely every single day for 3 years.
I could do that.
That's pretty crazy.
Just like copy it, delete it, and copy it, delete it.
FCAT. Perfect
could.
FCAT drive.
But you're only doing
Yeah,
it over
that's
SATA. Like, how long does it take you to fill? Like, it takes you a few hours.
Yeah, that's true. SATA is clearly the bottleneck there.
You set up a cron job every day.
Yeah.
Just to
cron
write
job,
zeros and then
fill
delete them.
entire SSD.
Yeah.
Just, yes. So,
Samsung
impressive.
still doesn't have any PCIe.
They don't. Well,
Like,
no, wait.
like desktop PCIe. Like, because they have
M.2.
They have M.2, but like even that, they're still not really selling.
They're not pushing.
Well, they're kind of selling
right?
the AHCI, but not the
Yeah.
NVMe stuff.
Yeah. They don't really, like, even those are white box.
Yeah. They're not doing
Right. They're
anything
not,
retail.
like, branded with,
Yeah.
like, nice packaging and stuff like that where it's meant to be retail.
Yeah.
I wish they would, but I think they were just kind of, like, hanging back, especially since, like, that, the SM951, right, was supposed to be NVMe.
This is when
initially.
they're sitting back there and saying, I wouldn't really say that I'm selling drives, Bob.
Well, I mean, that model was supposed to be NVMe when it came out. It did not come out NVMe, it came out AHCI.
Right.
And later on, we saw an NVMe version. So it's kind of like they're dipping their toe in the water.
They're
and
selling
seeing,
plenty of SATA drives, so why bother at some point?
I think there was that, and then there was the compatibility issues with NVMe. They didn't want to be selling a retail NVMe M.2 part, and when, like, most of the motherboards on the market didn't yet support it.
Yeah, but they're not selling PCIe AHCI drives to like consumer facing.
Correct.
either.
They do have enterprise parts.
Yeah, it's all OEM though.
It's all OEM.
There's not a
enterprise only.
Samsung 950 PCIe card.
Right. And what's ridiculous is that based on what I've seen for their enterprise, like what is out there for PCIe enterprise from them, those are amazing drives. They really should, they could make a very awesome consumer
Maybe people
PCIe
just don't
SSD.
care.
I think they just think that the
very
market is
sad.
too small, maybe, compared to their SATA stuff right
it is.
now.
I mean, it is. Samsung's a big enough company. They don't necessarily need to get into small markets.
Yeah,
If you wanted to sell NVMe, it probably wouldn't be a stupid idea to pair up with ASUS or Gigabyte or something and sell one with the motherboard.
yeah.
The
I mean,
256
that would
gig
work.
model, the 512 gig model, it's already on there, pre-installed. Throw your OS on there and away you go.
I think that'd be a good idea. I think Samsung is such a big company that they're looking at any new project has to be able to like shift their bottom line slightly.
Yeah.
And so the SATA SSD market was big enough for them to come in and enter and take over, which
Well,
they did.
So realize this is like a 32-layer VNAND in Samsung enterprise parts, which hadn't been a thing yet. They had 24-layer in one model, but then they also their other stuff had been planar,
Yeah.
right? So now their VNAND is in enterprise. It was, in consumer. So like I think the next thing would be maybe they are just working on the next version of their PCIe SSD controller to make it like really awesome and super fast.
Either that or flash sticks.
Thumb drives.
yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely, sure.
Yep.
That's where they're going.
It's a growth industry.
Micro SD cards.
Yeah.
But I mean, NVMe, the only places we've seen it so far is stuck behind a bottlenecked SATA interface.
What?
Or sorry, VNAND, not NVMe. VNAND, right? We keep seeing it. We haven't seen a PCIe VNAND SSD, which I believe, based on what we've seen in the performance of VNAND, it would just breathe fire. Like I think it would walk all over even an Intel, SSD 750, if they were to make one. Like they should make one.
Samsung
don't-
also is selling a crap ton of NVMe controllers to Apple.
NVMe controllers?
Yeah.
To who?
All of Apple's current
Oh,
machines are using NVMe.
yeah. They should really just make that a dang consumer part. Please.
We don't always get what we want. All right, final story here this week, guys, and there's really nothing here except I want to talk about joysticks a little bit. Saitek's X55 Rhino and its HOTAS.
HOTAS.
Jeremy, when's the last time you've bought a joystick?
Not too long ago, I picked up a Logitech, Strikeforce 3D, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe 2-3 years ago. But it doesn't have a fancy throttle on the side
Get
of
that.
it.
When's the last time you put your hands on throttle and stick, if you know what I mean?
This looks.
Earlier today.
This-
You know what the nicest thing is? They've got 4 different springs to handle the stiffness of your stick. To
All
your
right.
pleasure.
Oh, really? So it's user adjustable.
For your
And if
pleasure.
you don't like a stiff stick, you can do the limp mode with no spring whatsoever.
So,
We're talking about joysticks.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I noticed these look strangely themed towards Elite Dangerous or Elite.
Just a wee bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because of
they have yellow and black
because of the
stripes?
caution kind of striping and stuff like that. That matches a lot of the stuff
But that's
in
like
that game.
that's the same stripes that are on like the side of an F-18.
Yeah.
Those
right.
stripes are not.
And there's
on the
also
side
a
of
thing
an
that says like
F-18.
watch no not a step, which
Yeah.
it says that on the joystick handle on
No,
this
for
thing.
only what, $160?
It's not
for
very expensive.
a dual thing. It looks pretty
Let's go to
nice
this review
quality
here.
wise.
It's got
not force
separate
feedback,
USB
but
connectors.
Wait,
So if you
what?
don't want the throttle for some of your games, you can unplug her and stick her on the side.
No step.
Oh.
And one of the things I looked at and I thought, the joystick base looks a little bit small. In the review that they did, upside down are little posts in it. Apparently they sell a stand that you can mount these on.
Okay.
So they're not going to move around on you.
Cool.
The only thing that this is missing is a
Sidewinder logo.
no, but maybe it needs to have a plastic cover for a button that I have to flip up
And, you know,
before
flip
I
up
can
and
hit
hit
the
a
button.
button. Yeah.
Because without that, it's not cool.
The super awesome missile button. or
Right,
something.
right. And I do love these switches.
Death
like
Blossom.
everything in this looks amazing.
Where's the
Glows in
Death
the dark,
Blossom
too.
button?
Say it again, Jeremy.
It glows in the dark, too.
Okay, I was wondering if they were illuminated or if they.
Yeah.
Oh, so this actually okay.
Oh, so that's two separate.
I didn't realize it was
well,
two.
yeah, it's you can
Yeah.
do it to one engine or two multi.
Look at those dials.
I bet this
Look at all
sounds
that,
real
boy.
good.
Oh,
I mean, there are
just
people
like
that
to
use
caress that
fight
with your
sims
thumb,
that
wouldn't you?
would need a joystick like this, and this is really cheap compared to what has been.
Yeah, what the
out there.
DCS A10 that you
Yeah.
will use every single one of those buttons
Yeah.
twice.
So this is apparently the X65 on this side versus the X55. I don't know enough about any of these to know what the differences are necessarily, but this one has way more buttons, so I don't understand why it would not be better. Right? Like this one is. Look at the buttons.
Yeah.
More
Just
buttons.
so solid. Look at that. It's pretty.
So here they are illuminated. Oh, that looks badass. Actually,
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that looks pretty cool.
I'm not one for illuminated controllers, but that's actually pretty good.
That's pretty sweet. It does need a flip up plastic thing though.
Yeah.
You can make that happen.
And apparently here's a picture of them playing Elite Dangerous
Oh.
with
Well,
it.
there you go.
I mean, for
Yeah, and
whatever-
if you're
for what-
watching
for what that's worth.
reruns of Airwolf, then you'll want those in hand just to.
Oh, yeah.
Just to pretend.
Sit on your couch and just like
Yeah.
use the throttle and stuff.
Alrighty. So let's get into what do we got here? Oh, hardware software picks of the week as he looks across. This is a game that I have been hearing a lot about in the last week or so, and I finally downloaded it this evening and played a couple of rounds here at the office, and it's really fun. This is Rocket League. It's available on Steam and I think on PlayStation 4
Yep.
as well, and it does cross-platform multiplayer, which is interesting. So this is a... Let me see if there's actually a description here. Soccer meets driving once again in the long-awaited physics-based sequel to the beloved arena classic, Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars.
What?
But that's not the name of this game. This game is just called Rocket League, and it is
That's
literally...
dumb. They should have stuck with that name.
It's a pretty good name. It's literally soccer played with cars, but you get like... You can jump and flip and hit them, and then you can like drive up the side of the wall and jump off of the side of the wall and hit the ball there. You got turbo boost. There's no shooting or anything like that of the other opponents, but if you turbo into them, you can kind of push them out of the way.
Yeah.
And it's up to 4-on-4 multiplayer.
Was that a hat I saw in the car?
Yep.
There are hats on the you see the hats on the car,
Yep.
It's also farting a rainbow.
and it is also farting a rainbow, as Ken pointed out there. I literally only played 2 matches against really poor AI, which I won handily, so I was proud of that at the very least. And it was a lot of fun. It's $20 on Steam, available now. Literally, if you search around Rocket League on Twitter, you'll find tons of people talking about this. It's been very highly... I mean, it's not... I don't know how much depth it's going to have, so you have to want to be able to play multiplayer to really get into it.
Yeah.
But this looks like it could be a pretty awesome kind of like, I'm going to sit down for a couple hours with some friends and play this game. That should be pretty cool. I am curious if I can use that Logitech G29 racing wheel, however.
I don't know if it'll...
Oh, you can map it.
I'm sure you could map it. Well, I don't know if the... Yeah, you should be able to map it.
If you map it, they will
Maybe
come.
just slightly overkill for this game.
I need that kind of precision and control.
And the force feedback.
And force feedback.
Which might not work with this game.
It might not.
It's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Every time you run into the ball with
the
the car, it throws the wheel out of your hand and just like...
So that's Rocket League. It's on Steam. It's $20. And I think, again, I've only played it for an hour or something like that so far, but pretty cool. And I was playing it, well, I forget what GPU I have in that system. What do I have, a 460 or 560 Ti?
It's like a
something that?
650, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay. So it doesn't require a whole lot of GPU horsepower or anything to get going. I was 25 by 16. But it is very fun. So I would suggest that. Jeremy, what do you got?
Another perfect reason to join the fragging or the Killer Frogs on the BOINC team. You don't necessarily have to join up for the SETI team, but a Russian billionaire did just throw $100 million at the search for extraterrestrial life with Stephen Hawking as an advisor. So there's going to be a crapload more data coming. We're not just going to be dealing with the Arecibo and the couple of issues that radio telescope has been having. So, I mean, seriously, if your computer's running, you're not into the Bitcoin because they ain't cool anymore. BOINC is a great way to chew through a lot of scientific data and offer it out for the betterness of the community. SETI at home might find you a lift off the planet. I do Large Hadron Collider when they have data, so I will be the first to know if it destroys the planet. How is this a bad thing?
Because you won't get any data when you're supposed to,
Yeah,
right?
it'll just dry up. There's actually a website still up called Has the LHC Destroyed the World, and it just says no.
So
If you
you
could
can,
read this.
in the forums there, you can go to the BioInc
Yeah.
section
BOINC.
here.
Boink.
Berkeley Open Infrastructure Network Computing. And that's sticky on how to join up for the various teams, and also a good introduction to the crazy bunch of partiers that are all over there.
I can distinctly remember the excitement of every time of getting a new processor, seeing how fast it could do SETI instructions. It blows my mind.
Watch that
Dave Fender
screensaver.
still had that
But now
time
that
on the
we've
Cray.
found all the aliens, it doesn't even really matter. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need to do that crap anymore.
all right, Josh, what do you got?
So I use this quite often. It's just a simple network scanner. It's free. It's happy. It's free. It's got
Perfect.
a soccer ball as its logo. And you figure out what range of IPs you want to do, and it pings them out, and it searches. Tells you what's there, what's not. I've mentioned it's free. So when you're trying to look for freeloaders on your network, or a computer that's acting bad, or something that shouldn't be there, this is nice, especially for those who are actually, more professionally inclined at their workplace and need to know what the hell's got an IP.
You're trying to say I'm not professionally inclined?
How many computers do you have?
We have a lot of computers.
I know you got a lot.
I got
but do
3
you have
sitting on this table.
30?
Yeah, ish.
Not on at the same time.
Oh, okay, well.
Are you counting how many we could build if we wanted to?
Well, yeah, I could build a lot as I wanted to as well, but it's pointless.
Soft Perfect Network Scanner.
Yeah,
All right.
it's handy.
Last but maybe least. Oh wait, hold on. You didn't actually put it in, did you?
That's
Until
it.
too late. You understand that I like preload all the tabs, so
Oh.
it makes it more difficult. Let me
Anyway.
go back here and get this especially for you. Hold on.
So yeah, this is still being updated, and there's even a new version or a new edition, I guess you would call it. Ultimate Boot CD, which doesn't have to be on a CD. It could be on a USB drive, right?
All right.
But chances are you might have an old USB drive. These builds are less than a gig.
I always appreciate websites that were built in 1996.
I
and
never
just,
updated.
and just never changed.
Nope.
Well,
They never
the
update.
software's updated. The website doesn't need
Like
it.
I hope when I scroll down, I don't know yet. I haven't scrolled down yet. That I see like a what do
torrent
you
links.
call those like network things where you could
The little network drive with the arrow?
no it was like a network of websites where you clicked an arrow and it take you to like a random one also
Oh,
in
the
that.
no, no.
rings.
Yeah, the
Oh,
network,
web rings.
the rings.
No, it's
yeah,
not-
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a web ring
rings.
thing,
Is
yeah.
there web ring?
No.
Ah, damn
No.
it.
So there's Ultimate Boot CD, and there's a new version that they're starting to make, which is UBCD Live.
Is that the second link?
Yeah. which is just like a newer version, which actually has like a GUI. You know, like a Debian GUI.
So question me this. What would you use Ultimate Boot CD for these days?
What would you
Cloning,
use
for
it
one. Like, it has like 10 different freaking cloning softwares.
Well,
built
I
into
shouldn't
it.
need 10 different cloning softwares. I should only need one.
That's true.
So continue.
Okay, something gets screwed up with the boot partition of your system, and you can't like boot Windows for some reason. You can go boot this, reassign active partitions, whatnot. Like, you know, sometimes you just need another environment that's not your C drive, and that's it, right?
Is this based on Windows 3.1?
No, it's Linux.
No, it's NTFS compatible.
Like, I remember using this stuff back in the day. It just feels like we're
It has
beyond
that tool on it to like reset an admin password of like a Windows box.
So
That's
hacking.
handy. You know, well, that's one tool out of like 100 that's on this thing. You know, it's got like memory tester stuff. It's
I think
got
D-band's on there.
It's just like my internet's fast enough now that if I just needed like memtest or gparted, I would just download that and put it on a thumb drive.
yeah, but download it with what if your only system?
Nobody only has one computer that you're talking to right now.
There are plenty of people with only one computer.
So you're
You only
saying
end
you
up
download
having-
this as a
You only end up
safety
having
thing.
yes, it's the thing that you put on the
Yeah.
old thumb drive and put it in a drawer and forget about it until oh crap, I need to boot into an
I
environment.
literally threw away like 4 spindles of blank CDs. this week.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be a CD.
I know. It's just.
And you
it's just
also
funny.
recently gave away a whole Ziploc bag full of 1 gigabyte
Thumb drives. I did.
Right?
I did, yeah.
Which either version of this,
I kept 5 more. So
either version of this will fit.
perfect.
It's just like
Just
I'll
fine.
do it.
whenever you want some of this, you'd want the latest version of software.
This is updated just a couple months
No,
ago.
but like if you leave it sit on a shelf, then it's not updating.
oh, it'll
So,
be probably good enough.
I can download this through HTTP from the University of Crete.
There's a magnet link. They're hip. They have a
Mag-
magnet
If you get
link.
it from Crete, it will ask you for
What's
money.
magnet?
What's a magnet link?
Yeah, is that
just
torrent?
asked
I don't,
how do they
I don't have
work?
torrent apps on here.
Yes, that's torrent.
I don't do illegal things, Alan.
That's not illegal.
Yeah, but the only people who use torrents
Freaking
are
open source.
illegal. I mean, right? Let's be honest here.
I don't know why I feel like I don't need to use this anymore, but I feel like I don't need to. I did back in the day. It just, I don't know. My mind is blowing up right now.
You wouldn't need to
it's
use
almost,
it.
It's almost half a gig.
So you wouldn't need to use it because you would go, "Hey, Alan, I can't get into this insert whatever name here. You
Ryan
figure it
touched
out,
Raid again.
right?" And then that's why Ken doesn't need it because he has like me sitting 5 feet away from him.
Oh,
I want my
500 gig seems like
1990 Norton
huge.
utilities when Peter Norton was actually programming.
Did you say 500 gig?
Sorry, 500 megs. Half a gig seems like a lot for like a.
It's just a crap load of tools.
is
guess.
Hiren's boot CD still out there?
Yep.
I think that is
That's
still
awesome.
a thing. Yeah.
It is still out there.
Oh man. So where do we find this at? What's the URL for this?
You mean like ultimatebootcd.com?
Yeah. Is that what it is? I'm telling. We have an audio version of this podcast. I
Yes.
want to make sure people who.
Ultimate boot, or if anybody just Googled Ultimate Boot CD, like that's the top. You know,
Okay.
that's the top hit.
Never mind. Moving on. That's the end of the show, everybody, this week. Thank you for joining us. And again, if you want to watch us record the show live, Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, pcber.com/live. Go to pcber.com/subscribe. Sign up for that mailing list. And again, if you happen to be in the Dallas area for QuakeCon, we apologize for not being there. But make sure you are on the lookout for this very attractive, very...
You got something coming out of
Look at
your
those
neck
calves.
there. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, so if you find this, stand up. Look, I've already got my badge for the BYOC. I'm ready to go. And, I like those shoes, though. I didn't wear the good shoes. Legs tell you I don't get a lot of sun. But
Skip leg day.
At least they're darker than the white background.
in my defense, before this picture was taken, I did spend about 7 weeks in a hospital.
yeah,
So,
Yeah, but you weren't admitted.
no, but I was still there.
he was.
I was still there.
He was admitted
Very
by
clearly,
proxy.
this is the Hilton Anatole in the background, right? Like you can just tell from the decor and all that stuff. So be on the lookout for me and figure out what the URL is to enter for this contest, which should be
And
live
Point
very
your
shortly.
phone camera at his crotch.
Point your phone camera at my crotch,
Yeah.
and then take a picture with me. I guess that's
And
it.
if you've
That's all I
got a
got.
big extended lens, definitely to snap a pic where people can see you.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for the show this week. Thanks you guys for joining us. I'm Ryan Schrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
And I'm Alan Malventano.
See ya.